Good morning, everybody. Cyndi Williams, the Wanderlust CEO here. And we have a fun interview for you guys today. I'm interviewing Sadie and Chris McAdams from Fork and Path. Good morning, guys. How are you doing?
Good.
Great.
How
Good
are
morning.
you?
I'm so good. I'm so excited. I love to talk about all different types of tourism, but I must admit there's a special place in my heart for culinary food. We're going to talk about food this morning. So tell the audience, if you will, a little bit about who you guys are and what you do out in the world.
Yeah. So we are a local food blog who loves to travel. So we really spend a lot of our time, of course, a lot of our time pre-COVID traveling. So yeah, Chris is a chef, so he has a background in culinary. I've always traveled since I was a kid, so I love traveling. So we decided a couple of years ago to quit our corporate job and to try to make a living doing what we love, which is eating and traveling. So we've been traveling around the world, exploring food cultures is really what we're interested in, and then bringing it back here to the States, to Denver, to share with our followers. And we do local pop-up restaurants here too, based on the place we just traveled to.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. So I always say, like, on this particular segment, it's called Bliss to Abundance. So we love to follow people who are following their bliss to abundance. I love that concept of like traveling somewhere, integrating yourself in the culture, and then bringing it back home. Tell us about some of the pop-ups that you have done that have been either your favorite or the most popular in the area.
So the favorite one I have done personally was the Yucatan. So we went out to the Yucatan and we went to Merida, the capital, and then we went from there with some locals out to a little Mayan village called Peto. And we visited some traditional Mayan apiaries and a bunch of things, and just fell in love with traditional Mexican cuisine and like what it really stands for. And it's such an abundant culture out there outside of like our perception of it. So we brought a ton of Mayan honey back with us.
A lot of honey back with us.
Yeah, and we created a whole pop-up restaurant with like the honey being the driving theme through it. So we did a roasted venison loin, which had like a pepillon sauce made with honey. Oh gosh, I can't even remember everything.
We had panuchos that had honey pollen on top, which is like a stuffed tostada is a panucho.
Yeah, and then aguachile con pulpo, so an octopus aguachile, and everything was really unique and fun, and it was so cool because it was a ticketed event, so we only had so many diners, but the whole point of it for me was like I wanted to really showcase what traditional Mexican food was, and it blew everybody away because there were things like duck, vanilla, venison, all of this stuff on the menu that didn't ring true as far as Mexican cuisine for people. But then once you start talking about like the geography out there and what a big country and all of the food and produce and everything, it was kind of just very eye-opening for them, which was exciting for us because that's like the whole point, is to show how cool food is, how it highlights cultures, and how it brings people together. So it was such a fun event, and the conversation was awesome, and it was really good.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. So my stepfather is Spanish. So I grew up with a ton, and of course it's Spain versus Mexico, but I understand exactly what you're saying. They're like, it's not what you get at like the Mexican restaurants, and we're in Austin, so we have a ton of Tex-Mex, which is delicious. But when you start talking about that authentic cuisine, like the stuff my aunts made, you couldn't find like in a restaurant anywhere. So I love that. And I never thought of honey being like an core ingredient. I love honey because that's like one of those things that's like so versatile and in a lot of like the high-end culinary menus. So that's amazing, guys. Tell me about another one that you did. I'm so curious. I didn't know about the pop-ups before the interview, so I'm excited.
So another one we did that was really fun, we did a Swedish s'morgas pop-up. So it was all like a fast casual sandwich style. And we spent some time in Swedish Lapland. And we did like a deep dive into the food culture up there. So we had like a lot of reindeer. We saw some traditional Sami methods for preparing food up there. And then my favorite part of it, we got to see, there's a special breed of cow in Sweden. It's called a fjälko. And it's a mountain cow. So they're small, they're real, small, not like micro, but they're small.
Yeah, much smaller.
You can hug them. and they're so sweet.
They're kind of like dogs. They're really social
Yeah.
animals. So when they see you, they get really excited and they run up to you and they want to be pet and they lick you. And it was really fun.
Yeah, but the cheese they make, because it's so concentrated from that breed, it actually almost like a Parmesan or something. Correct me if I'm saying anything wrong. But yeah, like a Parmesan or something, it gets really flavorful really quickly, and it gets hard really quickly, so it ages.
So like it usually takes like 2 years to get like a traditional Parmesan Reggiano, and they can achieve like the equivalent status as far as like the tyrosine and the calcium in like 9 months. So it's absolutely amazing cheese, and we fell in love with it. The two we loved were the Gerda and the Rosa. Those are our best.
Yeah. So we brought a wheel of cheese back with us.
Like an entire wheel. I love that. Like in the suitcase, or did you have to ship it?
No, we brought it with us in the luggage. We actually threw away some clothes to bring the cheese back with us.
I was like, oh, okay, we could buy another suitcase or get rid of clothes.
Yeah, and it was like, that was an easy answer there.
Yeah.
But the pop-up.
So then for the pop-up, we did like a juniper roasted venison with juniper butter and the cheese. We did like a mushroom style one with the cheese. We did a boar sausage one, which was really good. And then we had, what was the last?
It's a house
it was gravlax. So Chris cured some gravlax in house and did smoked salmon smorgasbord. So yeah, that was a fun one too.
Wow, that's so amazing. I love the idea, like we're doing one pop-up, you can eat this once and never have it again.
Yeah.
I love that because it's such like a little treasure that you're bringing back right from each country. And I'm just envisioning this cheese wheel going through security. I mean, talk about like just being so passionate about what you do. Like you find a way to make stuff happen to bring it back to your audiences. I think that's so cool. So you guys mentioned you also have a blog, and obviously integrating food and travel together. How do you share your experiences with your audiences that are out there? Like what's your process to document and share what you're doing in the world?
So I do most of that part of it. We have a YouTube channel as well that is smaller. We're getting it off the ground, but we have a YouTube channel. So we'll travel, we'll do Instagram, we do YouTube, get some video content anywhere we go. And for the YouTube, I try to make sure the content that we're putting out is very specific towards the culture that we're exploring. So like in Mexico, I had the bee suit on at the apiary with the camera. And same thing, like when we went to Sweden, we saw the cows, like I had my camera on a gimbal walking through the field to really document that and bring it back. And then we like to share a lot of stories on our Instagram. So a lot of our captions, we try to share like the story behind it, not just here's a pretty picture of a cow or here's a cool picture of Mexico. Like,
and we back a lot of that information up with the blog, which we do a good split on actually writing out the blogs. And the hard part for me is shutting up, because I get really excited and I want to like tell you everything, like the entire background, like what led to this. And also it's like been a learning curve for me to be concise in the write-ups when it comes to the cultural stuff. But we also try to find things that people consider important when they're traveling. So like best restaurants, places to go, things to see and stuff like that. So we'll incorporate that in the restaurant too. Like in Stockholm, we have like the best food halls in Stockholm. So to make sure there's something like tangible people can actually use, but really it's a hype machine where we love this stuff and we want people to see how cool other places and other cultures are, so they go visit it and can appreciate it and bring it back too. So really the blog is just our hype machine we use to rep everybody.
Yeah, I love that. And you know, here's the thing, all the years and all the thousands of travel professionals I've trained over time, I find the people that are most successful, they start with that element of what are they most passionate about. And this is stuff you would do if you didn't have a business behind it anyway, because you love it that much. If you start in that place, and what I love when you guys talked about storytelling, and that's a good message for our audience. I know you guys aren't travel agents, but for our audience following along, that's one of the things we constantly coach people on is, finding your voice and telling that story in whatever type of travel-based business that you have. Because I bet the first time you went out, you're not vlogging and in the bee suit and doing the things. It's like learning your voice, I feel like, is an evolution. And then you get to that place where you're sharing it on a bigger level, which obviously you guys are, which is amazing. Tell the audience where we can find you guys on YouTube.
So YouTube, Fork and Path, Fork ampersand Path. That's us. So yeah.
Yeah, and I guess it's always at Fork and Path spelled out for
Yeah, for Instagram too.
Yeah,
Yep.
Instagram.
Like the word and. Great.
Yep.
We'll drop the links for everybody in the YouTube description below so you can follow as well. So one of the questions I always ask on the show is, what is your favorite trip you've ever taken, and what do you want people to know about it?
My favorite trip we've ever taken was we went to Iceland, and this was before we started doing our food blog or anything like that. And I was pushing to go to Iceland for like a year. I finally got Chris to agree, and he's not a big on road trips, but I love road trips. So we drove all the way around Iceland. We did all the way up to the West Fjords, which most people don't do. They just stay on the ring road. But I think that was like, from that point on, we were like, yeah, like we want to travel full time if we can. We want to travel more than not.
Yeah, like we had both been places, but that was really the one that like launched this, like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. There's other places like this in the world. We need to find them.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, stop right there, because I love that moment of awakening when I work with travel entrepreneurs across the world. Like, it's usually a trip that initiates it, or it's like you have this life realization. That's the power of travel, to go, I want to do this crap every day, right? Like, I want to wake up and do this every day.
We actually remember the exact moment that happened too. We were in the West Fjords in the like northmost fishing town called Eastafjordjord, and we drove on this road that goes to absolutely nowhere, and it basically ends at the end of the island. And we were just sitting there looking at the ocean with nothing else north of us, and it was just like waves crashing. We're like, yeah, this is amazing. Sheep running around us. Like, we want to find this everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
I love that. That's so like, and if you zoom, like if you take that moment of your life and like zoom out and look at it from your whole life perspective, that's like that little pivotal point where you could have went back and did whatever you were doing, or something changed in the stars where you made a decision, and there's a little power in that little moment. I mean, maybe you were there an hour or two, right? But like, because of that thing, your entire life changed. I always say you're always one decision away from a whole new life. And in your case, I just love what you guys have done, because what did you do when you came back? Like, did you just start frameworking your business, or what did that look like, that process look like for you guys personally?
It took, I think like that was when the seed was planted. And I would say it took probably about 6 months for us just to be at the point where we're like, okay, nope, I'm done working. I was a project manager at a software company. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be creative and do something fun and fund a way to travel. So it took a bit of convincing on my part for Chris.
Yeah, absolutely.
I drew up like a whole business plan of like ideas we could do, and of course none of that is now what we're doing, but like that initial.
But it started you on your path, right?
Yeah, it started me there, and then Chris was on board
soon after that. You did. So I mean, we're both big time planners, so we love to take risks, but we want to make sure that we're taking well thought out risks.
Yeah.
So I really, like, I wasn't all in for a while, and like Sadie legitimately put together a presentation and showed what we could do and how we could
Like,
earn.
hey,
And
come on.
yeah, and as soon as she had that groundwork laid, I was like, okay, do it, pull the trigger.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that we were thorough and thoughtful about the process. But then once we did, yeah, like Sadie said, it's evolved several times. We've had to pivot. COVID has changed everything. So like, we're heavy. We went to 4 countries in 3 states in 1 year, and then had to just stop that. And that was our first year going.
Yeah.
So, that was just like, okay, so now we had to stop and pivot back to the local Colorado scene.
But we do a lot of like local travel too, going to more obscure places in Colorado and showcasing those areas. So we tried to keep it up.
Yep.
And here's the thing. Like, I always say to the clients that we coach, like, if you are following your passion and you are on your life's path, like truly, like if you go to this place here and go, I'm stepping towards what I know I should be doing. I'm excited about what we do, even if I have to make changes and alterations and kind of make it work. I always say, like, when you're on that path, the universe always provides, and it will rise up to support you in what you're doing, whether it's meeting the next person, being on a podcast, being on our show, being on whatever. But do you guys feel the same way? Like, once you started that journey, did things kind of fall into place? Of course, you're working hard and making adjustments, but what has that piece of it been like for you, like in terms of how you feel about what you do every day and how you're being supported by the universe or the world in general as you proceed?
I think for me specifically, I feel more at peace in myself than I have in a long time, because I think I've always been on this path of like, oh, I don't know what I want to do with my life. And it's less like, this is the job I want to do with my life, and more like, this is the lifestyle that I want to have. And so being able to step into that has really just clicked for me, and it's really felt great. Like, I wake up and I get to do something creative. I get to edit photos. I get to edit video. I get to plan. I love planning things, so I get to plan.
Oh,
sorry, our dog is.
Hey, then, we're working from home. That's the beauty of what we do. We get to work from home. We love dogs. We love kids. It's all good.
And it was really nice. I felt like you started getting, like, I always lived on the concept semper gumby. I learned that a long time ago. Always flexible. So you just kind of flex with whatever happens. And like when we got into this, there's a lot of anxiety about, is it going to work? Are people going to take to it? Why would people listen to us? Like, who are we that we matter, that we should
mindset, right?
So then when we got going and started like getting like positive feedback from people, and then not just positive feedback, but partnerships, other companies reaching out to us, wanting us to be a part of their mission and vice versa. Like, that's kind of what, like, for me was like, okay, this is legitimate. We belong here. We can live in this space too. So that was great, and has driven us. Once that started happening, it was like, okay, there's legs to this. So let's push.
I love it. Yeah. Everything starts to fall into place and kind of says, okay, here. And I always say, like, if you had to go to San Francisco tomorrow and you didn't have a map and you had to literally walk out your front door, you're not going to make it if you don't have a map. But that's the way that, once you clear mindset issues, it's, if you have a GPS, you kind of like, this is one step, and then this step unfolds, and then you don't have to start at the finish line. It's kind of like it unfolds, and that's kind of the beauty of the journey. So you guys, your story is so inspiring. This is exactly the type of interview we like to bring to our audience, to remind everyone, like, whether you're doing a blog or a travel business or travel entrepreneur, there's so much abundance in our industry. And of course, you guys are tapping between culinary and travel, which is amazing. So I just want to remind our audience, where can we find your blog, guys? Chris and Sadie?
Forkandpath.com.
Perfect. So guys, go check out forkandpath.com, follow them on YouTube, and listen, if you guys are thinking about launching, growing, or supersizing a travel business, remember, that's what we do at Careers on Vacation. We can help you with that. You can find that information at careersonvacation.com. But guys, the last thing I want to say is we're filming this about a week before Thanksgiving. So it's so timely. I have a chef hat somewhere because I'm filming the recipe to a travel business right after this, but I love that we did this one today right before Thanksgiving. So I'll just end by asking, what are you guys doing for Thanksgiving, and how are you planning to celebrate the holidays this year?
Great question. So we've gotten our restrictions have increased in Colorado, so it's just going to be Sadie and I and her in-laws together. But parents, my in-laws, and we decided to do an Asian themed Thanksgiving. So we're making Peking duck and dim sum.
Oh my gosh, I want to come to you guys' house, okay? Or you guys come to Austin. But at any rate, I love this whole concept. I'm so excited for you, and I'll be cheering for you as your business grows. Thank you for taking time to be on the show today, and we wish you much love and abundance as you guys move forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, of course. Bye, guys. Take
Bye.
care. Hey guys, Cyndi Williams here. If you like that last video, make sure you check out my other content to help you grow and scale your very own travel business. And also, I invite you to travel around the world with me and find out what I'm doing in my portable, profitable, award-winning travel business. Check out the videos.